Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit different from my normal lore videos for a few reasons. First, I have been so busy with school and work that I haven't even had time to really think about what lore content I should put together next. So this one is going to be a bit more laid back, just me kind of yapping about some recently released 40k news and giving you my thoughts. I'm also going to get just slightly conspiracy theory-y later on, so you can stick around for that too. This is going to be a nice short little video on a few things related to the man himself, the closest we have ever gotten to a real-life John Warhammer, Demetrian Titus. I assume that by now all of you have seen the 500 Worlds announcement trailer. In the trailer, we see Titus absolutely dripped out to the max and newly re-promoted as captain of the second company. By the way, I know that I'm like a month late on this, but yeah. Now, what's important to note, and this ties into my conspiracy theory that we'll delve into later, is that we've seen numerous Tituses over the years. We have Space Marine 1 Titus, Space Marine 2 Titus, and the Amazon secret level Titus. Each of these Tituses look different, and it's important to note that the Titus we see in the 500 Worlds trailer is secret level Titus. I say it's important to note. Is it actually? I don't know. Probably not. But in the trailer, Titus is honestly a bit of a sourpuss. You know, I'm no professional voice actor, so if you want to hear his little monologue in full cinematic Space Marine quality, you should check out the trailer. But I'll recap it here too, and I'll even do a shitty British accent. Titus says, "The Primarch Reborn demands the impossible. He commands us to reconquer the 500 worlds of Ultramar. In the 10,000 years between his death and rebirth, how many worlds have been scoured by the enemy, devoured by the monsters of the hive mind, sacrificed on the altar of Exterminatus? He's a demigod out of time, fighting for a golden age that can never dawn again. The Primarch Reborn demands the impossible, but only in death does duty end." So, it sounds like Guilliman's basically acting like an out-of-touch CEO who's demanding his workers work harder and faster and more efficiently just because. Titus seems to be calling Guilliman out of touch, you know, due to the whole being dead for 10,000 years thing. But you'd think an Ultramarine would be pretty excited about his demigod super dad coming back to life and getting promoted to one of the most elite positions in his entire chapter. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, in the trailer, Titus is also bestowed with the title Warden of Ultramar, and along with his promotion to second company captain, Chapter Master Calgar also offered Titus the position of Master of the Watch. So Titus is once again now in charge of the defense of the Ultramarines Fortress Monastery on Macragge, and the reconquering of the entire realm of Ultramar. Bro is literally suffering from success. He's getting accolades and titles and promotions, and this super sick new wolf skin shoulder cover thing with a cool red cape. He's even somehow getting more handsome. More conspiracy theory foreshadowing there. And yet, he doesn't seem that happy. I guess it's probably because this is 40k, and being happy in 40k is basically sacrilege, but I can't help but draw some comparisons here between Titus and one of the only other Space Marines that I think has suffered from success more than Titus, and that's Dante. Dante's been actively ready to die for like 1,000 years, and he just keeps surviving and getting promoted. Titus still has quite a few centuries and a lot of death to defy before he reaches Dante status, but at this point, he looks like he's well on his way. I mean, in Space Marine 1, Titus and two other Astartes are tasked with a certain death mission to stop an orc invasion. While there, the world, Graia, is literally flooded with Chaos Marines straight out of a portal to hell. Titus survives all that, and then that little bitch Leandros tattles on him. And that leads to Titus being sent to the Death Watch, where pretty much everyone is almost guaranteed to die, and he pretty much is guaranteed to die when he's literally saved from being torn apart and devoured by a Carnifex at the last possible moment by Vero Tigurius, chief librarian of the Ultramarines. After Titus is saved and recovered, he undergoes the Rubicon Primaris surgery, which has a very high mortality rate, which, believe it or not, he survives, like, pretty easily. Then he gets reinstated to the Ultramarines and is immediately tasked with fighting a massive Tyranid Hive Fleet and another Chaos Marine incursion without any support really beyond his two squad mates Gadriel and Chiron, because Captain Acheran can only spare a handful of troops for every mission. Oh, and in the secret level episode that comes after the Space Marine 2 campaign, Titus, alongside Sergeant Matoris and 2 other Ultramarines, are tasked with destroying a Chaos Altar and killing the demon that dwells within it, in a mission that was deemed to be a certain death, 100% no coming back type of mission. What does Titus do? Well, he just little bros the fuck out of that demon, slices it in half, and dips. And now, he's tasked with accomplishing something that only literal demigod Robute Guilliman has been capable of, the refounding of Ultramar. And keep in mind that Guilliman did all of that over 12,000 years earlier, when there was a whole lot less war going on, and less invasions of the galaxy from literal hell. And there were no Tyranids. So what does all this new lore mean for the future of Dimitri and Titus? Well, I think we know now what Space Marine 3 will be about. I'm genuinely really excited to see what will happen with Titus, even though I'm not all that interested in the Ultramarines as a chapter. I'm hoping that with all the shared history between the Wordbearers and the Ultramarines, that we might see them as an enemy faction in the upcoming game. Sure, we've seen the Thousand Suns and the Chaos Spawn from Tzeentch that they bring with them, but I'd love to get the opportunity to go head-to-head with a faction empowered by Chaos Undivided. Maybe Space Marine 3 could even be our opportunity to see Lorgar's return, following the rumors of his increased activity. Something that I think would be really interesting to see as well would be a 40k rendition of the Gal Vorbak, or at least something sort of similar. They were the Wordbearers Space Marines who were forcefully possessed by demons during a Wordbearers expedition into the Eye of Terror, but unlike about 99.999% of possessions ever, they ended up having a more or less symbiotic relationship between the human soul and the demon soul that shared a single Space Marine body. I'm also curious to hear your opinions. Who do you think could be the main antagonists of Space Marine 3? Necrons? Tau? Drukhari? I'm wondering if we might even see some alliance forged with an Eldari faction during the game. I don't know. At this point, I'm just straight up yapping. So let's move on to something I've been wanting to complain about for quite some time now. Guys, Chiron is dead. Certified what the helly moment right there. I think it is kind of funny that I spent all this time in this video talking about how Titus just tanked his way through death-defying mission after death-defying mission, and then his main homie, his biggest supporter in Space Marine 2, who also tanked his way through a couple death-defying missions, Chiron, is just killed off screen in a little excerpt that pays his character absolutely none of the respect he was due. There has been a lot of fan reaction online to this news, and while I agree with the vast majority of it, I'll tell you guys the main reason why I am very unhappy with Chiron's death. In the Space Marine 2 campaign, Chiron tells Titus and Gadriel of his childhood. He was born on Calth, the Ultramarian planet that was invaded and nearly destroyed by the Wordbearers in an underhanded surprise attack at the outset of the Horus Heresy. Chiron was very lucky to survive, and witnessing the horrific devastation of his homeworld at the hands of the original traitors to the Imperium pushed him to undergo the trials to become an Ultramarines neophyte. He was then sent to Mars and put into stasis for over 10,000 years while Belisarius Cawl perfected the process of creating Primaris Marines. Chiron then underwent the same Rubicon Primaris surgery that Titus did, survived it as well, and became an absolute beast, hell-bent on purging the galaxy of all heretics and chaos influence. He was such a cool character because he provided us with a direct connection to events that took place 12,000 years earlier. We are in the 42nd millennium. The Horus Heresy seems like a legend, an almost mythical era to the people of the Imperium at this stage, and here was a guy that could remember it like it was yesterday. Here was a guy who lived through one of the most important battles that occurred during the heresy. And they killed him off for pretty much no reason. And that sucks. Also, Captain Acheran was killed in the same battle that Chiron was killed in. So, I don't know. Rest in peace, laddie. Yeah, sorry, Acheran. I don't have the same level of sympathy for you after you just absolutely screwed us over on every single mission by only sending 3 Space Marines. But yeah, whatever. I digress. It's now conspiracy theory time. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and also I feel like as far as conspiracy theories go, this one is pretty tame. As I mentioned earlier, Titus has looked very different over the years. In Space Marine 1, he looked like this. Like a super jacked alien and demon fighting super soldier. Not super handsome or anything, but why would he need to be? He is literally a weapon of war. He doesn't need to be handsome, he just needs to be effective. We fast forward to Space Marine 2, and he looks like this. Different, for sure. Obviously, way more detail. Still looking badass, still being badass. And then, bro, we get to secret level, and who the fuck is this guy? Keep in mind, Titus in this episode is older than he's ever been before, so why does he suddenly look younger? Well, to be fair, becoming a Primaris Marine is known to give Astartes some youth back, but he's also objectively looking way better than ever in the facial handsomeness category, and he's even got a crisp fade. Like, damn. I guess the secret level episode didn't show Titus and his squad making a quick pit stop on the planet of Puerto Riconius on their way to do battle. So, the many faces of Titus raise some very important questions. Like, why are they making Titus more handsome as time goes on? And why am I asking these pointless, stupid, ridiculous questions? Well, believe it or not, I have answers for both. As for the latter question, I am a 40k YouTuber. I make videos about 40k, and I like to yap. And sometimes I yap about stupid shit like this. And as for the former question, I think there's only one major possibility for not only continuing Titus's storyline from the first game through to the second game, but also expanding it to make him one of the most, if not the most, important characters in the galaxy at this stage. Did you like my crack duck impression there? And that is that Henry Cavill will be playing him in whatever live-action 40k series ends up being made. It just makes too much sense. I mean, they're not making him look like Henry Cavill, so pretty big hole in the conspiracy theory there, but that's kind of the whole point of a conspiracy theory. It's not supposed to be completely watertight. So let me know what you think. What does Titus's future hold? If we see more animated 40k content from Amazon akin to Secret Level, what stories do you think they should tell? And for the love of the God Emperor, when are we finally going to get 40k in live action? Henry, please. And with that, this all over the place video has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching, and an extra huge thanks to all of my incredible channel members. Arjona186, Winterish Mist, and JulieBab2516, thank you for becoming the newest members of the regiment. If you guys were super badass fan favorite Primaris Marines with cool metal arms, an epic backstory, and an undying hatred for chaos, and I was Games Workshop, I would not kill you in an off-screen bullshit-ass battle for literally no reason. If you'd like to support my channel, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, or even becoming a channel member by clicking the link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. See ya!